G'day, it's Helen Godden here all the way from Australia, and I'm celebrating 10 years of working with Handi Quilter as their international ambassador for the Sweet 16. So to celebrate, I'd like to take you on a studio tour and show you around my home and where all these creations happen. So bear with me and let's have a look at this one behind me right now. This first quilt I'd like to share with you is called Screeching Cockatoo. If I step back, you can see it's quite a large quilt. 2.5 yards by 1.5 yards, and this has been painted on the plain calico or muslin fabric with my favourite dyes, the Liquid Radiance, and then I've quilted all the feathers and details on my HQ16. At the time I had the earlier model from Handi Quilter, but you can see all the cockatoos in the background there, all flying off into the sunset. So this piece did win first in painted surface at Houston, and it won first in Australia in my state show. It hangs very proudly here in my dining room, adjacent to these watercolour paintings, which I did back in 1997. Oops, bad reflection. There we go. These are with watercolour paintings with all that splashed background, and I had one of the Screeching Cockatoo, but it sold and I missed it, so that's why I decided to paint this larger version. So this hangs very proudly in our dining room. Now I call it a dining room, that's a very loose description. Let's have a look at what the dining room table actually gets used for. Yes, painting. So it's a dining room table loosely disguised as a paint studio. So this is where I do the large works that I'm painting. This is a future work that's happening. But you might have also noticed in my dining room here, I do have a few artworks, unfortunately only prints of course, by Vincent Van Gogh, one of my favourite mentors. Here we go, a little bit of Vincent. But if we have a look over here, I've got one of my favourite quilts to show you. Sorry about the panning. Here we go. You might not have seen this one. This is a reproduction, obviously, of Starry Night. And I've never exhibited this piece, but I just love it so much and enjoyed creating this piece immensely. So we'll get in close. So what I did was choose all my coloured fabrics, put fusible web on the back, and then cut with my rotary cutter all the bits into slightly curved segments that were approximately 2 inches long by half an inch wide. I then placed them down onto a base fabric and ironed them on when I was happy with their position. I've then covered the whole piece with a layer of bridal tulle and then all the free motion quilting. And I really do believe Vincent would have been a quilter, because he would have loved playing with bits of fabric and colour and adding all the line work that we can add with our stitching. So this is one of my favourite pieces, and even though I would tell you I absolutely know Vincent's work inside out, when you actually reproduce it, there's so many things that I had never noticed before, such as the little houses right over there on the side and all the little bright lights in the windows and that church spire. It was just such a pleasure to create this piece. So I'm going to take you for a bit of a walk up the hallway to my actual studio. Here we are outside my studio. Did you notice I took a little trip to the bathroom there? I'll explain in a minute. Now you're about to walk into the zone. It's a very special place, the zone. Please don't judge the mess, but all of you out there I'm sure have the same guilty creative space. So come with me into the zone. And this is my studio. It was the main bedroom of the house until we extended the house. So let's have a little look here. We've got my desk. That's actually in quite good condition today. So if I'm emailing you, that's where it's all happening. Books and magazines and reference materials. Over here, cupboard full of stuff. Yes, those doors are closed. My Simply 16 is set up at the end of the room here, so I actually have space for both machines in this room, so that's how wonderfully compact the units are. So my Simply 16 is set up with a vintage quilt ready to rock and roll on there. Up behind it here, I can't get particularly close, but this is La Luna Feminingo. That's all painted and quilted. Of course, on my Sweet 16, the girls' dresses are all metallic thread, beautiful. And if you have a look at their feet, so the question is, are the girls turning into flamingos, or are the flamingos turning into the girls? So that's one of my favourites ones. It's never actually competed, but it's just one of my favourites that I have there. Across here is all the people I love in my family that are inspiration, and here is my Sweet 16 all set up. At the moment I've been playing around with buying secondhand scarves and then quilting into them. So this one's about to go under the needle. It's been a lot of fun. But let's keep having a look around. Oops, a whole bunch of ribbons. Yes, thank you Handi Quilter. I've had a lot of success with my Sweet 16. Let's have a look over here. Oh yes, check this out. There's, I think, 6 boxes in the corner there full of yarn for my yarn couching. Oops, more fabric overflowing. On the table here, I've got a basket system of some kind. But luckily this table is so big, I'm able to put lots of papers and artwork underneath in that space there. So that works really well for me. This is an iron. I have no idea how to iron clothes, so they just sit there. Yep. Yeah, different designs that I'm working on. You know, I try to be organised, but, you know, most of the time I feel a bit like this. Oh. So now I wanted to show you the first quilt I ever actually made on my Sweet 16, or back then it was my HQ 16, the earlier model. This piece here has not been seen outside of Australia. This is Protea, and it is a bleach painted piece. So this started out that beautiful dark purple colour, and then I painted with bleach to remove the purple. And as I removed more of the purple, the pink came through, all the different shades of pink. So where it's paler pink, I've removed 2 or 3 layers with the bleach, right up until it became white. I've then added a little bit of colour with the yellows and reds and things with thread, and I added the green with a bit of dye, but otherwise it's a pink and white bleach painted quilt on the purple. Very special quilt, and I remember this was the first piece I stitched on my HQ 16, and I just could not believe the difference that machine was going to make, because now I could produce large works, I could do crazy amounts of stitching. Let's look at the back. All the crazy amount of stitching on the back there. I just had so much fun and freedom when I first got my HQ 16. So it's been a very happy relationship with Handi Quilter and I for 10 years. I've gone through the HQ 16 and now the Sweet 16. And I just couldn't be happier working with such a great company. See you later everybody. Hope you've enjoyed the studio tour.